Alright, and now we're recording again. Okay, so this is the part. This is a critical part. This is the part of the stream that I did not do things I should have. I was about to meme, and then I was like, okay, I actually did kind of fuck up here. So I literally just took, like, I got home from work, threw all my groceries in the fucking fridge, and then fired up my stream. You know what I should have done? Looked at the flag set. Didn't do that. That's pretty important if you want to go fast. You should know what the flags are. So that was mistake number one. However, subtract one mistake because here becomes the Dragon Ball Z battle theme from the Super Nintendo game. Okay. Usually when I'm mostly ready and I'm just like running an ad or something, that's when I put this on instead. Fun fact. Okay, so here we actually are. I think we're ready. Okay, so here's my ugly mug, right here. Okay, you can see my mouse cursor. That's important. Oh, listen to that fade. Oh, you can hear the shit. You can hear. That is funny. I did not know you can hear my audio through my headphones through the microphone. That's awesome. Mewtwo's your guess? This is a critical part of every stream. You have to know which pets are nearest to you because they're the ones that go into your names. Okay, let's press Brian. Let's skip forward ahead a little bit here. What's up, Landy? How you doing? Oh yeah, this is where I played with the camera for a while. Okay. Oh no, I was still fooling with it more apparently. Okay.
The damn camera. Wait.
God, this nerd just keeps talking. Let's just see the run. Let's go.
Okay, whatever. We're gonna start.
Nice.
3. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, now I'm gonna give it a second because I see the internet wants to blow up. Oh nope, there it goes. All I had to do was press pause. Very good.
If it goes well, do commentary. If it doesn't go well, then I won't do commentary.
So it went well, so we're doing commentary. Okay, so for those that don't know, Want here, Onet, Onet, 1TT, you have a whole bunch of checks that you can do in Onet off the bat, especially if it's not randomized start. So you have Buzz right here.
Mother 3 is actually pretty solid.
You have, we actually dodged this dog. That was sweet.
Not that
What else do you have? Oh, here, that's perfect. We'll just ignore that for a moment. So you can just auto fight these early enemies. That's not a problem at all. So you have Buzz, you have Liar Exaggerate statue, you have the meteorite piece, you have the library shelf, and then if you can fight them, you also have the sharks. So you have 5 things right off the bat that you can run off and check. Don't forget about them.
Thank you very much for the 5 bits, producer V-Dizzle.
If you're on a seed where you can teleport anywhere,
what's
you can teleport out of here, actually.
Or is this your Lost Underworld impression?
Very important. You have to sing anytime it's relevant in any seed. That's very important. You don't go fast if you don't do that. If it's a teleport anywhere seed, you can actually teleport right in that little spot. I'll go back to it. Right. Go back. Right here. That wide open area, you can teleport out of there. That's good to know. So it's actually faster if you have a teleport anywhere seed to go check the meteorite and then come back here and teleport out of there. Fun facts.
And the pencil eraser.
So we got the pencil eraser. That doesn't really unlock anything for us right now. So we may as well just check more stuff. In general, what I recommend is going around and checking all of the things that are available to you that don't require combat. So you can get as much stuff as possible, as many chests as possible. Like, you don't have to go out of your way for chests or anything. I just mean, like, you have the option to check them. You can get more kids. You can find all kinds of good stuff before you have to fight anything. And it lessens the chance that you show up to fight sharks right off the bat and they just punch you in the face. So here, this is kind of runner's choice. You're gonna teleport back into this spot, So you could go get the meditation check, or you could go do something else. I feel like really it's about the same either way. The only real loss is if you have to teleport a whole second time to come back and you don't have the carrot key, which is actually a thing that happened to us here, but that's okay.
Capsule, that's not bad.
One thing that's also important to know, Pooh, one, lets you do the meditation sequence in Dalam. Two, he also comes with an item in his inventory, so you need to check his inventory and see what key item he has. It's really easy to overlook. Ooh, do you get a commentary to the commentary? We'll see how the commentary goes. If the commentary goes well, maybe you'll get a commentary to the commentary. If not, then you won't. So yeah, we wound up coming back here. I decided to do it. I was thinking about other things at the time. Speed strats. It is always fastest to make a decision and go with it, instead of like sitting there and waffling like, do I do A, do I do B, which do? I don't know. Like, that is the slowest thing to choose. Instead of trying to decide, oh well, if I didn't teleport out, I would have saved like, probably about 14 seconds or so, and I would have saved 14 seconds. But my dumbass will sit there waffling for 30 seconds if I don't choose something. So I just choose. Same goes for combat. That's really kind of like, so like that, maybe that feels like a bad example, but my thing is like, just keep it moving all the time. Combat, like, unless you really need to plan out your next moves, just pick something that's probably good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect every time. Unless...
That's the way to go.
What is it? Was it Michael Andretti? You have to know when to go slow. So here we got the teleport to Summers. That just opens up. If you have the tiny ruby, it opens up another check in the museum. There's also the magic cake check that you can do all the time. And I think I went right to the magic cake check here. Oh, yeah, you can watch my face here. I'm like, can I teleport out of here? I've never tried it, I don't think. And the answer is no. No, you can't. If you don't have a tracker, get a tracker, by God. That will help you keep track, of all of the stuff that you're doing. There is an automated tracker out there for whatever program it is that uses that. I think it's pinned in the Discord. I don't use it. I just use the one that I made because I made it and I like it. And if I didn't like it, I would have made it different. Mine is also hosted on the PK Scramble site. If you go to tracker, there's a very generic tracker there. Then if you look for Ari's tracker on the little side bracket thing, then you can go find mine there.
Here's the jar of flour.
Or you can ask me for it. I'll just give you the thing too. That's fine. It's not a big deal.
I guess we're saving.
Yeah, I overmashed here and we wound up saving in here. What I probably maybe should have considered earlier was saving in Dalam. That's a nice save. However, this is back to checking your flags. Easy Deaths is on, and Easy Deaths means that when you die, all your kids come back with full health and all their psychic points and no other ailments. So you can actually kind of save anywhere and it's not too bad. At this point, I still have not checked the sharks. This is still... I can check things without having to fight anything, so I'm going to do as many of those as I possibly can. And it pays off here, again, because now we got access to Threed. Threed is really nice because you instantly get access to the underground prison, which is another kid check. Kid checks are huge. They're my number one priority, short of literal go mode, just beat the game. Kid checks are huge. You get a ton of resources, basically, for each extra kid you pick up. There's the minor penalty of they take extra time in combat, so combat actually technically gets a little bit harder because of that. But on the whole, it's positive. Even Jeff is positive, even though I like to meme on Jeff.
We have a full party.
So we've done all kinds of checks, haven't fought a single thing. And look at this, at 7 minutes in, we got 3 kids. This is a speedy seed, for sure. So, there I was checking the present. I was debating in my head, actually, if I wanted to go down and check the vendor, or any of the vendors in 3, because it felt maybe like it would be more late game. That's why I didn't just teleport out immediately. And then I decided against it, and then I said, whatever, I'll just teleport out. Even Jeff. Yes, even Jeff.
Did Tolmar put luck capsules in the garbage like I asked?
I'm so sad Tolmar did not put luck capsules in the garbage can. That flag's just not on. Back to checking your flag set. So, there's another concept. I can talk about this while we kind of blow through these enemies. There's also the idea of vibe checks, as they're called in the community. The idea... Yeah,
Tolmar just introduced.
This is a new mechanic. Bosses get generated. They use existing EarthBound sprites with like enemy sprites, and then Tolmar just kind of has lists of things. So like that's an angry man. So he has like angry man movesets. It's a Leviathan. It'll have like Leviathan movesets. It's a robot. It'll have robot movesets. That's the idea here. Anyway, back to vibe checks.
On a bad day.
So
I don't think I've seen that before.
The trash can outside the game center. Let's go back. That's relevant to what we're talking about. So this thing right here. This trash can. This thing is great for vibe checks. What that means is you go here, you take a look in that trash can. What item is in the trash can? Is it any good? Is it a luck capsule? Luck capsules actually kind of show up anywhere, so that's kind of nebulous. Is it like a cookie? Cookies suck. What that means is that cookie is assigned a low level in like how the game randomly assigns stuff. So if there's a cookie in there, then these enemies are probably also low level and you can beat the crap out of them. If there's a star pendant in that chest, get the hell out of there. Thanks for the star pendant. Don't fight any of those things because they're probably all like max level and are going to kick your butt. And then there's kind of like the whole spectrum in between. And there's randomization for like these brackets too. So maybe it's a cookie, but actually they're like kind of mid-tier. Or maybe it is a star pendant, but they're actually, kind of like the upper end of mid-tier or something. So it's not like 100%. You can't fully rely on that. But if I walked up here and I got like a star pendant out of that trash can, I'd bail. This would be the very last thing I come back to. Let's fire this back up.
I don't think I've seen that before.
So here, it's very tempting to go and check the thing that you just unlocked. So the whole point of fighting the sharks was to go talk to Mayor Perkle, who'll give you an item. But we don't need to do that. We know if you read that text, I know it went by very fast on instant speed. But if you read that text, he told us, Perkle has the key to the shack. So that's just a sanctuary for us. That key to the shack doesn't unlock anything else. And I have this check available to me. So let's just go straight here. Save yourself some time. You don't wind up like walking back and forth or teleporting in and out and back. No, just go do this. You're right next to it. This particular fight, the cop fight, is really nasty potentially if enemies are being shuffled, because then it's not necessarily cops. If you see the stream that I did yesterday, you know that caterpillars are probably the worst thing that you can find here. They are awful because they will just spam fire repeatedly. What cookie is mid?
Much easier than 5 caterpillars.
What cookie is mid? Neapolitans, yeah. The Hershey Kiss in the middle, it's kind of weird. I just eat the Hershey Kiss and then eat the like mid-tier cookie. I think that's a good example. I don't know if I've ever had a good version of the cookie with the Hershey Kiss in the middle. That's a great suggestion. Oh, this is important. We're skipping right over it. So right here, I am completely oblivious. You can see down here in the corner, there's a cat that's about to ambush me. Thankfully, I have chat turned on. So someone will warn me about this before this cat attacks me in the middle of my speedrun. Oh, let's see. So at this point, what's up, Tolmar? At this point, when you do the cop fights, you turn in the badge. That unlocks your way to Tucson. Tucson gives you just the Apple Kid check off the bat. Apple Kid check, yeah, you have to give him $200 and you have to give him some kind of edible something, and he will give you a key item. If you have Paula, then you can also check with Everdread. That turned out to be a trap. We'll run into that. I should have trusted my gut. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get there. And we have the pencil eraser, which means we can also go off to Happy Happy Village. The black cat is Mew.
About the cat before I noticed the cat.
And there you go. See, chat saved me from the cat. Yes, this is commentary on the weekly that we just did. That's what we're doing. So here I went to the bus station to withdraw some money. I don't actually know if this is fastest for Apple Kid. It might be faster to go through the department store ATM. The department store just feels kind of laggy and kind of slow, and my gut tells me that the bus station might actually be faster, but I've never timed it. I don't actually know. So I'm open to hear which one of those is faster. If somebody actually runs off and times it, let me know. That'd be neat. But again, this is kind of back to my general suggestion. If you want to go fast, save your fights for last. Because you get more of an opportunity to... There's the cat.
Carrot key already?
So this is significant, and this was a dumb choice. I'll let us die to this fight. So at this point, this is my critical error of not checking the flags beforehand. I thought that since Magicant was enabled, I would need 5 sanctuaries by default. I did not. I needed 4 sanctuaries. So at this point, I should have just dropped everything and said, I have 4 sanctuaries. I have the carrot key. I have Delam. That's a sanctuary. I have the key to the shack. That's a sanctuary. We have a teleport to Lost Underworld. That's a sanctuary. And now, if we go walk off to Happy Happy Village, that's a sanctuary. And this was, 13 minutes into the seed? We could have been done with the seed in like 20, 25 minutes. But we didn't. And I'm still kind of fishing. I'm like, oh, well, let's look for a couple more key items. Try to get to 5. Because that's generally kind of feels faster anyway. Back to gut feelings. So after I fight him, I kind of realize, oh crap, yeah, I made a dumb. So I actually come back in here and I'm like, okay, I'll get the key and I'll kind of think about, does this take 4 or does this take 5? So that's why I make a couple weird choices that I, in retrospect, think were not good choices. But if you're not sure if it was 4 or 5, that's what you get. So another advantage, and this is something I keep in my back pocket. An advantage to putting sanctuaries off till the end is that you'll have a ton of levels to go fight these sanctuaries, and they'll go very quickly. Now, the issue with that is if you don't have enough levels to progress in, like, getting more key items, well, that backfires. So it's just kind of nice to have the sanctuaries in your back pocket. If stuff's feeling tough, you can bail out. I couldn't remember if I was about to explain the 4 sanks here. You can bail out, you can go do some sanks, you can get some more levels, and then you can continue getting your key items. Or you can save it to the end. Either way. There are 2 schools of thought. I really think playing it by ear is the best choice. I don't think one is always better than the other.
Oh, well, okay, it's green.
Yeah, that's fair. Teleport Alpha is faster than Teleport Beta, assuming that you can do the Teleport Alpha correctly. If you bonk 7 times trying to do an Alpha, then it is no longer faster than a Beta. So if you really, really, really want to go fast, then you should practice your Teleport Alphas out of places. Otherwise, learn some of the easy Alphas. The ones that only take like 1 or 2 inputs are not very tight frame input or anything. And then just learn where you can teleport Beta. Bonking is your worst choice unless you're doing it intentionally to avoid enemies. Which I think we already skipped that, actually. So I'll go ahead and talk about that quickly as well, since there may be people that don't know or just never thought of it. You can use Teleport Alpha. You can steer while you use Teleport Alpha. I didn't know that before I started speedrunning this game. Yeah, you can just put in directional inputs while you're Teleport Alpha and you move around. Shocker, I know. Look at this sweet Teleport Alpha. Nailed it. You can use this idea along with the fact that enemies don't move while you're teleporting. So you can use Teleport Alpha to just kind of move around enemies and skip past them. It's very nice. that is definitely worth learning how to do. The other thing that's worth learning how to do is it's called stutter stepping in the community. If you just kind of tap the D-pad very, not ultra short, but pretty short, and let go, the enemies that only move when you move, if you time it exactly right, they will not move. And you get, 7 frames or something is the largest window. So you can use that as well as a way to get around enemies. Highly recommend it. Yeah, don't teleport Alpha and take off. That would be bad. That's called a field goal. It certainly can be worse. If you're way deep into an area and you teleport away, yeah, that's bad. If you're just in town, it's not too bad.
There are a lot of flashes.
Viper came in handy. I was complaining about flashes. Let's talk about flashes. So I believe all we've seen in the seed, I'm fairly sure, were Flash Alphas. Flash Alpha has a 7 out of 8 chance of making you cry and a 1 out of 8 chance of making you feel strange. And we got a whole lot of feeling stranges this seed, so that was just bad luck. But you just kind of have to deal with that.
Okay, I don't think the randomized presents are on. I think they're just what they're supposed to be.
Now, if you had Flash Beta, then you get a 5 and an 8 chance of crying, a 1 in 8 chance of feeling strange, a 1 in 8 chance of being numb, and a 1 in 8 chance of instant death. Or, if the flag for safe Flash Beta is on, it won't be instant death, it'll just be some other status effect, like can't concentrate. Back to making sure you know what flags that you're actually playing before you start the scene. I rate it very highly on things to learn. So, here we're going to go off to Peaceful Rest Valley. I agree with this, but at the time I was kind of thinking it for the wrong reasons. I want to get 4th Sanctuary. Well, we've been over this. I only needed 4. I was kind of fishing for 5 for a little bit, and then I was like, you know what? Let's just get 4 and see if I need 4 or 5. Thank God I chose to do that. So I chose to come out here for another reason instead, and I'll go ahead and talk about that briefly. Happy Village. You can go to Paula's cabin where she's kidnapped, and there will be a kid check inside of there. You need the key to the cabin to actually bust them out of there, but you can see who's in there, and they give you a key item if you talk to them. So going out to Happy Village is pretty nice. It's extra nice because, unlike Vanilla, in Scramble you get a teleport to go to Happy Village. So that's huge. So once you get out there, you're good. You don't have to make some gigantic trip back anymore. That used to be terrible. In addition, for checks in Happy, I've mentioned Lilliput, the sanctuary. So you get a sanctuary for free. You don't have to beat anything there. You can just walk straight into the sanctuary if you want. And if you have the Franklin badge, you can also fight Carpainter. That'll get you another key item. Flash Sir is one of the design decisions of all time. They can, for the cabin, they can hold the key to their own cell. So if you're really not sure where progression would be, consider that sometimes the game does just hate you, and that could be a thing. Let's see. What else here? So, if I would have known 100% that I was in go mode, I wouldn't even have done this check. I would have just gone straight to the sanctuary and then bailed out and done the next sanctuary. But I didn't, and so we came out here instead. Not a big deal. arguably, you could still do this check anyway. One, it could like maybe unlock like something easier, or at least like shorter.
It's a critical part of every run.
It is a critical part of every run. Make sure that you name yourself or name your meme. Don't just punch in A. I'll be sad if you just punch in A. This right here. Let's talk about this. So, Pokey stands outside the cell after you talk to the person inside the house. He will, just like in vanilla, come up and talk to you and call you a loser and run off, and then you'll have to fight these nerds. If you don't take any steps as soon as you come out of this cabin, you open up your menu and you pull up, you can try a flash, or you can try a teleport alpha if you want. I think you can come like out here and then kind of take it out and around and up and out just on the other side of this fence. I think you can fit that. I don't try that. I just do a beta right here in the center. If you screw it up, he's going to come run over to you wherever you went. So don't screw it up. Yes, at minimum, at least name yourself 24 A's. If you name yourself 24 A's, I at least will not be unhappy. So, teleport beta out of here, and you'll leave this guy and his buds all behind here. But if you ever come back to this cabin, or you have to walk through Peaceful Rest Valley over here for whatever reason, he'll run right over this hill and fight you again. So just keep that in mind. You can teleport away from this problem, but you're just leaving it there. It didn't go away, you just ran away from it. So this is, once again, if I knew I was in go mode, I would not have come in here either. Probably not even to check the presence. I wasn't too concerned about it. We have kids that had a bunch of freeze betas. But let's go ahead and talk about another thing here. Let's go back. This. So, we have this enemy here. He aggroes onto you once you get like within a certain radius of him, and he kind of thinks about it for a minute, and then he starts running over. Normally in PK Scramble, by default, I think on almost all the settings, you have run enabled. So for enemies like this, they just kind of run towards Ness. They don't take the shortest path to any part of your party. They take the shortest path to Ness. So you can kind of take advantage of that fact. Take a wide circle out here. Where's my John Madden marker set? Take a wide circle out here, and even though he totally could have taken 2 steps to the left and caught Pooh, 100%. But he's going after Ness, so what happens instead is we walk way around the outside and we get him caught on this tree. This is also a very nice technique to learn for the speedrun, for randomizers, just to not have to fight extra garbage. Capsules. We can talk about capsules. We just found another IQ capsule. There are some opinions about the capsules. The worst capsules. I'll kind of gloss over that stuff. For capsules, you have Vitality capsules, IQ capsules, Guts capsules, Luck capsules, and then Rock candies. Rock candies are just random, and they'll do any of those. Vitality is outstanding. Each point of Vitality directly influences your maximum HP. You don't get the HP right away, though. You'll get that HP on your next level. IQ drives your number of Psychic points. You don't get them right away. You get them after your next level. So give your Vitality capsules either to somebody that feels really weak but is otherwise useful, like often that turns out to be Paula. Give your IQ capsules to whoever needs more Psychic points. Oftentimes that'll be like, for me, that's Pooh. But it might be Ness. It may even be Paula. It's not impossible. Guts capsules, they raise your guts. Guts is not that great. I believe everything's patched in Scramble, so you're more likely to stay at 1 HP if your guts is high. You're more likely to crit if your guts is high. The percentage change is like negligible for 1 gut, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. Luck, drives the likelihood that certain, I'm just going to call them weird, attacks will actually affect you. So, like, for example, all of the stuff that's like Jeff's tools, those are all luck-based checks. Not Jeff's luck, but whoever he's trying to affect. So if an enemy had one of those Jeff skills and was trying to use it on you, then that's your luck check. If Diamond Dog is biting down hard on you, that's a luck check against you. That checks your luck. So luck, like, very rarely matters, but then when it does matter, it can matter a lot, especially when it's Diamond Dog.
Thanks, Kate. How you doing?
I wanted to say one vitality was 20 HP and one IQ was 10 psychic points. Maybe it's just 5. But I mean, that's still pretty significant. This is a good principle. We'll just talk about this briefly for those that don't know. Like, everything in EarthBound is weak to freeze. Not like literally everything, but basically everything. If you're ever not sure, it's probably weak to freeze. If you've never said, ah, crap, that did 4 damage, then it's probably weak to freeze. Just throw freeze at everything. You can get your psychic points back from these sanctuaries, you can get them back from hotels. Just use your psychic points. Don't. It's uncommon that you're going to need to, like, conserve them in Scramble. If you're doing, like, Ancient Cave or something, or you're doing speed runs, then yeah, okay, plan ahead a little bit. But freeze will get you out of a lot of bad situations pretty quickly. And it's usually better to just get rid of something fast and be down psychic points than have it punch you in the face for 4 rounds, and now you wound up using freeze to kill it anyway, and you're missing a bunch of hit points, and you have to heal those, and that costs even more psychic points. Okay, we've got another vote for 15 HP and 5 psychic points. This part is very important. This is critical. We almost glazed right over this. So, Lost Underworld, we unlocked this super early. As soon as you get to Lost Underworld, you can run right off to Fire Springs. You can do that sanctuary. If, in addition, if you have the Tendakraut, then you can come into this Tenda village. If you don't have the Tendakraut, then you're a Spinosaur, and the boss kicks you out, and you're not allowed in. Very important. So this was also a Spinosaur seed. That's why it was so fast. You have to run up there and have him call you a Spinosaur. Critical to going fast. So here, I debated this, actually. I was thinking about it at the time. You can probably watch the Ari Gears turn in the corner over there. That guy. I came in here, I've used both of my exit mice. This is kind of a long, crappy walk to get back out of here. And I was thinking whether it would be worth it to go get more exit mice, or if this is only actually going to need 4 sanctuaries, is it still worth it? It was probably still worth it but to go get mice, but I didn't, so here we are. Okay, we've checked the code. It's actually 15 HP for a vitality and 5 psychic points for an IQ. Yeah, that just happened, and I kind of was, like, talking right through it. The exit for Lilliput Steps, or the entrance, however you want to call it. If you don't do any inputs, you can just open up the menu, do Teleport Alpha, don't touch anything, you'll teleport out. You go right behind the picnic stand, you don't run into any sprites, it's perfect. So you can just Teleport Alpha right from there, and you're out of town. That's like the easiest Teleport Alpha to do. Yeah, that's a good call. So you can see here, 1, I'm looking at my tracker. 2, I was also looking at the flag set. I was like, wait, is it 4 or 5? I finally looked, and then I was like, okay. Yeah, it's 4. I'm an idiot. Ooh, numbers. I like numbers. So it's 20 seconds to get the exit mouse from the Onet house. Nice. I like that. Versus twice that to walk out of Fire Springs. So yeah, you should definitely go get the mouse. That would have been another good way to save some extra time here. But despite these like execution errors, if you just go, like, just you've already planned ahead where you're going next. You don't have to waste time like trying to make these decisions or anything, and you just go. That is a massive amount of time saving in and of itself. There are all kinds of presents in Magicant. I was probably a little reckless here, but I was just like, oh, this is fast seed. I want to go fast. So I just ran straight to the end. These presents are usually good. I recommend checking these presents, especially if you don't actually have anything good. You may actually even wind up going faster because you checked these presents, because you found something really good. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get items that are on the way. Like, yeah, even trying to go fast, I'm still going to check that present. But, like, even the other presents that were just on those little branches off to the side, probably could have checked those. The one that's down in Magicant, on, like, the good side of Magicant, the left-hand side, probably could have checked that one, too. Because something like, if I would have found, like, a Gutsy Bat, I would have, this would have all been free. If I would have found, like, Magic Fry Pan, I would have been pretty pumped. If I would have found, like, an Earth Pendant or something, or an OK Pendant, I would have felt a lot more confident. As it turns out, it probably would have actually been a bad idea. Because we'll find out with the new boss generation that this guy just kind of pummeled us not using PSI. But a lot of things use elemental attacks, so having pendants is very nice for survival as well. This is despawning. If anyone isn't aware of that, you can walk to the left and the right and get them far enough off the screen that they're unloaded from game's memory and get them to respawn again. That's very important. One thing that I do also want to mention here, I was willing to be pretty risky and just jump right into this. Because I did have at least like a small cache of healing items. So this fight is not great. These carefree bombs suck. They throw bombs. Even in PK Scramble, they throw like mini bombs or grenades or whatever the heck they've been reflavored to. But they're bombs. They do a ton of damage to everybody. So losing Paula was unfortunate, but I got a couple life noodles. Not a big deal. I will also talk about, I actually used in this fight PK Thunder. I'm a Thunder fan. I know people that are not Thunder fans. But PK Thunder has a number of enemies in 4 chance of hitting for each strike. An Alpha throws 1 bolt, a Beta throws 2 bolts, a Gamma throws 3 stronger bolts, and an Omega throws 4 stronger bolts. So, if you're fighting a bunch of enemies and you want to do a pretty good amount of damage pretty economically, I really think Thunder is worth it. If you're just fighting one enemy, then it's kind of more of a Hail Mary. If you have Gamma or Omega, I feel like it kind of starts to be worth it again, because those actually hit pretty hard when they land. But as soon as there's 4 enemies on screen, Thunder is guaranteed to hit. Like, with the tiniest little smidgen that, like, I think the game, if it pulls, like, 0-0 out of the RNG hat, I think Thunder still misses, because I've seen Thunder miss a party of 4 kids before. So, like, it's not literally perfect, but it's pretty darn good. I think it's worth it. So, here, I paused this because I wanted to talk about Magicant, but I wanted to finish my thought. In Magicant, in Scramble, but also in the regular speedrun, you have these guys. They're Krakens in vanilla. Here, it's going to be shuffled to whatever boss the Kraken is. You don't have to fight them. They kind of like faff about here and there until they finally see you, and then they aggro on, kind of like the cultist we talked about earlier. But these guys are actually even slower. So, if you've never tried it before, what I would recommend is making like some kind of like save state or whatever here, or just make a save and Magicant and then run over here, and then practice getting these guys stuck on these like stalagmites. Is it mites or tights are on the bottom? Mites? Whatever. Get them stuck on these columns or on the walls, and kind of get a feel for how fast they go, how close you can cut it. Because they're pretty lenient. You can see here, I really
I cut that way too close.
that was bad. Like, look at this. Look at how close that was. I missed it. This was still like 2 pixels away. This was literally like 1 pixel from combat. Traffic cones. There you go. So like you can cut this pretty dang close and not get into a fight. Definitely worth practicing, especially if you're gonna race. Because man, there's nothing more frustrating than, hey, the boss is right over here, and here I am fighting Kraken for 10 minutes. Like, that's bad.
I cut that way too close.
Stalagmites are on the ground. All right. So here we got this nerd. This is the new mechanic again. This is generated enemies. This guy looks like a bomb, so I expect him to do bomb-like things. I think he actually just punched for 1 billion damage, so okay, whatever. But the farther you get into the scramble, the harder the enemies and bosses become. Makes sense, hopefully. But if you come in here with no equipment and no like defense stuff, then you can kind of really get yourself into trouble if you don't know what you're doing. If you do know what you're doing, or you're really good at getting lucky, either way, then you can really pull off even these fights that would be really tough otherwise, as long as you just don't panic and kind of pump out as much damage as you reasonably can. And then if you need to, then you can, like, if it's getting close, like, okay, break, heal everybody back up. Even go ahead and wait a little bit, let the HP tick back up. It's frustrating when you want to go fast to sit there and watch something, like, just count up. But that gives you more time then to, like, try to burn them down again before you run out of HP. So here, it's a randomized boss, so we really don't know what he's going to be weak to or not. Dear. Yeah, he punches Ness for 1 trillion damage, whatever. We threw the Viper. The Viper will poison things. Poison is deceptively really strong as a status effect. This is another, I'm a Thunder fan and I'm a Poison fan. Poison will do 20 points of damage to this guy, give or take, every round. So what this can turn into, if this fight goes super long and it's some kind of stalemate, or like Ness dies here, Paula dies here because she's has like 5 HP always and she's super weak. So I wind up in some kind of situation where I'm just sitting here kind of tanking with Pooh. Pooh doesn't really have enough time to like do any damage on his own, or I'm saving his psychic points so that he can heal himself. What that means is I can just sit here. I can spam defend over and over and over and over and over and let him punch me for 200 each round. Whatever, I don't care. Pooh took 4,000 damage. His HP rolls down at the same speed. It doesn't matter. And then each time he punches me, he takes 20 damage. And then suddenly, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, that starts adding up really fast. So if there's ever any potential that you could wind up in one of these fights where you really want to get through it, right? This is a long walk to get to this guy. It's right at the end of the run. You really don't want to die here and then have to make the whole trek back again. Consider some of these strats. I hesitate to even call them safety strats. It's just like, it's giving you more options as the fight progresses, and it's going to do damage as the fight goes anyway. Like, absolutely, poison this guy. What's the worst that happens? He took 20 more damage each round. Anyway, we got lucky. It turns out that he's super weak to freeze, so we can spam freeze. I think he probably has like, what, 2k HP, so he's pretty beefy. Yeah, so he's just punching one kid at a time for a bunch of damage. This is actually not too bad. Another option that could have been good here, I was just on the freeze train. If freeze didn't work out, or I was in that tank situation with Pooh, another thing you can do is use just regular old shield. You can do shield beta, reflect half that damage back to him each time. Not bad, but we definitely could have done better. we could have done better, and we've been over this. You could use shield beta as well. You'll reflect half the damage they did to you back to them. That also adds up pretty fast. So even if you're in a situation where like you bashed for 1 damage and you're like running low on psychic points and you can't do very much, like you can poison the guy. You can use shield beta to reflect damage back onto him. Stuff like just keep your options open while you're speedrunning is kind of like through these randomized seeds. That's my suggestion. And the more you do it, the more you'll understand things that do work and things that don't work. Like Jeff tools in general can actually be pretty useful. The counter PSI machine, if you can get it to land on an enemy that's using PSI, that's pretty big. What else? Bombs are obviously strong. Super bombs are obviously strong. Bazookas. The HP sucker and hungry HP sucker, they're not bad. They're not like my go-to for damage, but like if I didn't have, if Jeff is just shooting for 1 and I don't have bombs, I would absolutely use the HP sucker. What else? Defense shower can actually be useful. In a fight like this, if you really had to buckle down for a long fight, you could use defense shower 3 times. The same principles that I think it got kind of, not necessarily forced, but they were more useful maybe in Mother 3, where buffs and debuffs, like, I felt really had a role in Mother 3. They exist in Mother 2, they didn't really, like, force that onto you. So offense up can be good, defense up can be good. Defense down, I rarely use that. That's a luck check for the enemy. Bosses will usually succeed that luck check, so you usually won't defense down them. So that's maybe like an exception to that rule. But I think that's maybe why it doesn't get used so much, because you get defense down first, so you get that and you're like, I'll use it, and it doesn't do anything, so that's the end of that. Versus like the other ones that I think are actually good. Yeah, I think that's enough for like these random ideas for strats at least. Let's see. Any other last minute pointers? If you haven't, I would definitely do a PK Scramble seed. Like, once you've maybe done 1 or 2, and you're like, okay, like this is neat. I could be interested in this. I would do one that just has all 8 sanks. It will kind of most likely take you to most, if not all, of the checks in the game. So it'll be a little longer, but it's good to like, all right, see everything that is an option, and then kind of see the things that maybe seem like they might be an option but aren't. I've been doing this for too long to really give examples of that, but I'm sure somebody that's new could probably find some. So do like an 8 sank if you haven't done one before. What else would be good? I'm also open to suggestions from chat if anybody has anything like that. Backstage pass isn't a check. Yeah, that's definitely a good one. Yeah, let's put on some. Oh, there we go. So, items in general. Food items, I don't really think they're very much worth holding on to. Maybe something like a brain food lunch or something, or the items that restore psychic points. Those are good. The really big HP healing items, like a luxury jerky or something, I might hold on to 1 or 2. Or like a hand-aid or something, I might hold on to it. But in general, I don't value those very highly. Defense items. If you get a ton of defense to where enemies are only hitting you for 1 HP, that's not too bad. But in general, I don't really rate just plain old defense items that high. That's not my priority, and I'm never really like fishing for more defense. Pendants. Pendants are very good. The OK pendant is a PK Scramble special pendant that has like 1 resist in fire, freeze, and flash. I don't think it gets paralysis. That would be the last option, but I don't think so. I think it's just the 3. So OK pendants are a lot better than OK, in my opinion. Earth pendants are great. They give you 2 in each of the things I just described, so 2 in 3. The Sea pendant gives you the max resistance in all 3 of those. It's incredible. The Star pendant gives you max in all 3 of those and paralysis. It's literally the best. So pendants, obviously, very nice to find. Charms and the Rabbit's Foot. Travel Charm just gives you a 50% chance-ish to resist paralysis. It's whatever. I might bother to equip it, I might not. It depends on how I feel that day. Great Charm gives you like 5 speed in addition to 90% paralysis resist. Not too bad. Crystal Charm, I want to say, is like 15-ish speed, and you can't be paralyzed, so that's pretty good. Then the Rabbit's Foot is 40 speed, and you can't be paralyzed. Rabbit's Foot I will pretty much always take the time to equip, unless like I already had a bunch of pendants or something. Crystal Charm, usually worth it. Great Charm, yeah, it depends how I feel that day. Sorry about that. Last thing I suppose would be like offensive items. And I can kind of go either way with them. I'm usually not digging for offense items. Usually. But they can be very nice to have, because you can auto-fight with high offense items, attack an enemy a bunch of times really fast, and then the fight's over. So, and then in that case, it's faster than sitting through the animation of like 3 freezes, or whatever it happens to take. So, and it gives you another option. So I will take the time to equip weapons if I find them. I usually don't go out of my way to try to find them. If I stop in a store and go shopping and I see good weapons in there that I can afford, yeah, I'll probably get them. Are there any other kind of pointers for that? I guess that's probably most of it for now. And maybe people will watch this and come up with like more questions or more suggestions or something. I have no idea if this will even get watched by anyone. But we were talking about it in the Discord, and I figured, hey, it might be useful to somebody. So, if you think of more questions, maybe I'll put this onto YouTube or something, and then you could like ask them in the comments or something. That would be a thing. What about deciding routing? Also, hi, Slug. So deciding routing. I mentioned it a little bit earlier in the video, but yeah, we can talk about this a little bit more. Time for a 3rd layer of commentary. Ah! Tempting. So for deciding routing, for PK Scramble, let's back up. For Glitchless, I follow the guide. Yay! For Ancient Cave, I picture Ness putting his left hand on the wall, and I follow each room, and if I hit a door, I go in there. That's all I do. That's literally like 90% of my routing strategy. I have like edge cases for the gigantic rooms, and for when I find loops. But otherwise, that's literally my whole strat. I'm sorry you're melting. For PK Scramble, it's a little more complex, and to some extent, I'm just going to say I rely on my guts. I know that's a little bit of a cop-out. But in general, my priority list goes something like this. What is closest to me, and am I 100% certain that I can finish the check? If so, I'll do it. So, in this seed, it was a good example where we just finished fighting the sharks, and I had the cop check available right next to it. So I said, okay, I'll just go do the cop check while I'm here. I'm absolutely certain that this is going to be fine. I had like 2 kids that could use freeze. Like, no way that's gonna fail. So I'm gonna do the check that's closest to me. as soon as I'm making a decision more complex than what's the next fastest thing I can do, then my checks go something like this. Yeah. Is it Monkey Cave? I don't want to do it. That's bad advice. Some of the checks are long and obnoxious. So I have a little bit of bias, but the reality is you should kind of take a step back and look at this like from just how a computer is going to do it. And the computer doesn't care that Monkey Cave or Stonehenge is a long check. It's just going to say, oh, this was available. That's the next one. So, getting that statement out of the way, the first thing that I will do is change the music. The first thing I will do is whatever checks are available to me in the area that I'm in, so it's still kind of closest, where I don't need to fight anything. That's like my biggest recommendation. If you have checks available to you where you don't have to fight anything and you can just go get another thing, then go get another thing. Kind of keep in the back of your head how far down like some chain you're following it. So it may turn out like, okay, I've been following this chain for like 8 checks. I haven't had to fight anything. I'm checking presents out here and I'm finding the big league bat. Like, okay, I might be getting like a little too out of my depth. Maybe I should go back and check some of the stuff that was available earlier. So like all of these things come with like a teaspoon of salt. But number one, things that I can check where I don't have to fight anything. If I'm choosing between multiple of those, then usually I will choose... if I'm choosing between multiple of them, then it's usually whatever's closest. If I still feel like, okay, I'm teleporting to one way or the other, then I'll go to the one that has more things available, so that I have to teleport less. If it's still like, okay, it's still basically the same, then personally I usually check key items before I check more teleports. That one's just kind of a gut feeling. But again, the biggest plug is check things where you don't have to fight things. Then, when you've narrowed all those down, okay, now I gotta start fighting things. That's usually, I will go to the places that were available earliest. So that usually means next I'll go back to fight the sharks in Onet. The thing for the sharks, that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, where we were talking about vibe checks. So just because the sharks were available off the bat doesn't mean that they're going to be easy. Tolmar's not wrong. They may not need that many levels. They may have just punched you for a bunch of damage because they were scaled to like level 10 and you're level 1. So like you get good. But sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes you'll go fight the sharks and they'll punch you for 900 and cast Starstorm Omega and you'll be like, huh, I guess I don't go there. So that's why you can check the present out front and see what it is. And if it is some like star pendant, then bail. Don't go in there. If it's a cookie, you're probably fine. If it's somewhere in the middle, it's somewhere in the middle. So does that make sense? Basically, it's check things where you don't have to fight. Then when you're stuck fighting things, go back to the thing that was available the earliest. And then I will sometimes have a little bit of a gut check where it's like, okay, I don't think I need this thing, and this thing was available that I just got, like a new check, and my gut tells me that it's gonna be like the meteorite piece or something, because that feels like what logic would do. Then that's when I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go check the other thing. And then if I'm wrong, then I go back and I do the other one. What if I get to a place that opens up a bunch of stuff? Kinda... If I go to a place that opens up a bunch of stuff, I guess really, again, I will just choose the thing that I can do the least amount of fighting to make more checks. I guess I can explain that a little bit more, because otherwise you're like, well, why are you just choosing that? You just keep saying that. That doesn't mean anything. I choose it because that gives me time when I'm stuck in a combat with some random spawn or some boss or something. That gives me the time to think about, okay, what have I unlocked? I can catch up my tracker while we're fighting. I can decide, make my like gut checks towards where I think I should go next. That's when I spend my time thinking about my next move, is in those combats. Granted, usually those combats are not too bad, so I'm able to do that. If it's some awful combat, then I might think that I want to do that, and then like I'm getting punched in the face and completely forget about it. If I like have sanctuaries unlocked and I have other checks, then it depends on how strong I feel. And I know that is also like really wishy-washy. But if I don't feel that strong, then I will go back to the first sank that I unlocked, or whatever one I think is unlocked. Sometimes I'm not right. But I'll go back to the one that I think is earliest, I'll go clear it. Then you get more experience and the other stuff should be easier. And you can keep doing that until you feel like you're strong enough to do more key item checks. But otherwise, if I do feel strong, then I will save the sanks all for last so that I can just blow through them all as fast as possible. Yes, non-combat first also gives you the chance to find kids, find good presents, and then you can go back and fight stuff earlier with bonus stuff and it's easier. Yes. Hopefully that answered your question. I don't know if I really answered it or not, or if I just kind of talked circles around it. And yes, that's also a good point. If I didn't mention it, I think I mentioned it earlier in the video. The number one check is, does it give me a kid? Yes, I'm going to go do that. And then it is, okay, what's closest to me, and am I certain I can do it? And then it's, okay, what can I do without having to fight anything? And then it's, okay, do I need to fight things, or do I need to get more levels? If I just go fight things, then I go fight things. If I need more levels, then I'll do a sank or two if it's available. Yay! Alright. Well, if there are no other questions, then I'm going to cut this here.